My name is Rob Wolfslayer. We were asked to come out and commission the ABB drives for the air handlers. Okay, so today I'm going to just go over the VFDs, their operation, some basic troubleshooting procedures, and the layout of how the drive actually operates. Okay, so on your air handlers, you have 2 supply fans, and then up on the return side, up top, you got 2 return fans. You got 1 drive per motor, okay? And just to reiterate, a drive or a VFD is a speed controller for the fan operation, okay? So it's gonna ramp that fan motor from some minimum value up to maximum value, okay? And that's how they operate.
And you know what the control point is for these? Does it say static? Does it say CFM?
Yeah, a lot of the control aspects of the unit, you're going to have to defer either to ETSI or to the VAS company. Okay, so
we have a lot of those covered too when we do the controls training.
Yeah, so a lot of it's going to be very generic as far as the VAS controls go, and then you just refer back to those guys. Okay, so these drives have already been commissioned, they've already been set up, they've already been programmed and tested. Okay, so in general. None of the programming really needs to be changed unless there's issues after the fact. If there are issues after the fact, I gave you my card. You can always get a hold of us because we're local. When we shut one down, I'll show you where the nameplates are, where you can actually contact the factory as well. Okay? And I'll explain to you how to do that as well. Okay? So just in general, what you have, okay, each cabinet is 1 drive, all right? You got your main disconnect, your power feed comes into your main disconnect, okay, and that shuts off power to the drive. The power feeding these drives, all 4 of these drives, is off of a main disconnect on the end of the unit, okay? So they got the main feed to that panel, and then that panel feeds all 4 of these drives, okay? You shut this down, you're gonna kill power to the keypads. As you notice, there's 2 keypads here. There's a bypass keypad, and then there's a drive keypad. These units come what they're called as a drive with a bypass option. Your normal operation is going to be in VFD mode, which is speed control. And then if for some reason the VFD fails or has issues, you have the ability to put the motor across the line. Okay, and that's 100% fan, no speed control. All right. So when you look at the keypads, you see a lot of LEDs. You got the main screens, okay, which give you a lot of the data information. If you look at the LEDs, when you see green, green is good. If you start seeing red, red means that you're in a fault, okay? And then if you do go into a fault, the LCD screens will tell you what the fault is, okay? If you end up resetting the fault by either cycling power or hitting a reset button, the memory will store those recorded faults, and each one has, I believe, 4 memory locations for the bypass, and then 5 or 6 for the drive itself. Okay, so there is a history. We can go back in there and find out what the faults were. Okay, so this is your normal operation. Okay, in your normal operation, you're going to be in drive mode. Okay, when you're in drive mode, you really want to refer to the drive keypad. Okay, the drive keypad tells you what's going on with the fan and the drive and the operation. First, if you look in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see where it says auto. You have the ability to put this drive either in auto or in local or hand mode. When you're in hand mode, you're going to see where it says hand. Okay, it actually says it. Okay. You have control of that fan motor right now, okay? And that's a bumpless transfer. Transfer, yeah, exactly. It transfers right over, exactly, yeah. So, and if I go back to auto, it transfers back over, okay? So, it is, yeah. So the technology is, they call it a bumpless transfer. If you go back to hand and auto, you put it in hand, right? Now I got control by pressing the up and down arrows. I can change the speed, right? You notice I'm lowering the speed here, right? And then as soon as I put it back to auto, it reverts back to the control system, and the control system sends a signal, which is down at the bottom, and it tells you where it's going to run to. Okay. So here is your HOA. Okay. You have the ability to turn it off. Okay. That button is active. So if you want to shut this fan down, just hit the off button, and it will shut the fan down, which we will in a second. Okay. So your normal operation again is in auto. When you're in auto, it's through the control system. They're maintaining static or pressure, whatever it is, and then the signal to the drive is the readout is here at the bottom. So that's actually the signal from the BAS to tell the drive what speed to run to, and that's a 0 to 10 signal. Okay. So if it sends 10 volts, if that was a 10, it'd be at max speed, and if it's at 0, it would be at min speed. Okay. When you look at this arrow spinning, okay, that tells you that the drive is actually in a running condition. Okay, so if you go up to the unit and you see that arrow spinning, it's just telling you the drive is actually running. Okay, the motor should be spinning. Okay, and then the way to tell is if you look at your current. If you're drawing an appreciable amount of current, you know you're spinning the fan. Okay. So your basic display here gives you your mode that you're in, hand or auto, operation if the drive is running, the name of the drive, which in this case is AHU SF1, okay, SF1, this is air 2. In the upper right-hand corner gives you the reference, which basically when you're in auto, the reference and the actual should match, okay. And then the three main values in the center is what speed the drive is putting out to the motor. You're at 49.9 hertz. And in this case, you run at 49 amps. And the signal is 7.8. Okay? When you get to the soft keys, just like your cell phone, you have two soft keys here. If you hit the menu button, that will get you into all the parameters. None of the drives have been locked out. Okay, so which means the parameter sets are open. Okay, we can go through if you prefer to lock them all out, which means then you have to have a passcode and all that stuff to get back in. But right now everything is open, so you can go in there and actually view the parameters that have been set. Okay, and there's a bunch of them. All right, my suggestion is to sort of know how to navigate before getting into it, because if you start making changes, which you can, because I said it's open. You could change the operation of the drive. Okay. Now there are ways that we can get you back out. The parameter sets have been saved in the keypad, so yes, we can download the original parameter set back in, and we have copies of it and so forth, so we can submit that to you as well, so you have a copy of it.
How does that diagnostic function work? I saw that on the graph the other day.
So diagnostics basically is going to give you your fault log, like we were just talking, where it records it, okay? So if you go to your fault and event log, right, it's going to give you faults or anything else that happens, like a warning, okay? There's warnings and then there's faults. A warning is just telling you that you're hitting a limit. A fault means you went over the limit.
You set those limits.
Those limits are set either by the factory or by us, correct, yes. So if you wanted to see what the previous faults were, you go into this menu, and then that would tell you the previous faults. It actually records the date, and it actually records the time as well. You can hit details, okay, and it gives you a whole bunch of more information, okay. So that menu is very helpful, okay, especially if we're trying to diagnose it via over the phone with us or with the factory, okay. They might step you through to get to this point and tell us what the fault codes were, okay. And again, like soft keys, when you get to that menu, it's going to give you the option to go back. And then back will take you all the way back out to the main screen. Okay? So, all right. So just to reiterate, the parameters are open. They can be modified. Our suggestion is not to modify them. You have my information. If you think you have to modify something, we can either do it via over the phone or come out and do a service call to see what the problems are. Okay? Because like I said, you make changes, it could disrupt what the BAS is trying to do as well. Okay. And then again on the bottom, it does keep the time, okay, the time and date, which is very nice for your fault and event loggers, okay. Getting back to this keypad, which is your bypass keypad, you have the 2 modes of operation. Your normal is drive, which is on the left, okay. Now I'm going to shut down the unit, okay. And it simply is just pressing the off button, okay. And you see in the upper left-hand corner we went to off. We also lost our motor run LED, which means now the drive is not running the motor, okay. So
Is that status off of the CT re-amperage, or is that just tweeting all from the person like
the status back to the control system.
right here? When you hear that motor run, is that going like the off, or is there actually a CT running?
No, so yeah, I'll open this up and I'll show you where that is. Okay, there's actually a communication link. There's a comm link between the bypass and the drive, and that's where it gets that. Okay. But just showing you the different modes here. Your top LED says enabled, that's just safety. If we trip the safety, that would go red. Your safety could be high static, freeze, and anything else in the BAS system that would cause a fault. Okay, that's external. That's coming from the BAS system or the unit. Okay, if the unit trips and it trips the drive, that will go red. Okay. If the drive trips, and I'm going to trip the drive, this will go red, okay? So for instance, if I was running in the off mode or in hand mode, and I happen to remove the controller, okay? Because this is your controller in hand, right? We're going to see us go red, eventually, okay? So if you're walking by and you see red, like I said, red means there's a fault, okay? So the drive tripped, you see a red on the drive keypad, and you see a red on the bypass keypad. This is telling you that your drive mode, I have a fault in the drive mode, okay? The next thing is you come up to the drive keypad and it tells you exactly what happened. Panel loss, okay, because I removed the panel, okay? Yeah, all right, and it'll stay there, okay? So it's going to be that until you come up and either cycle power or hit reset, okay? So if I hit reset, I read the fault. I understand that the fault is something that's resettable, that's not going to cause any more damage. I go ahead and reset, okay? If it cleared the fault, it'll go back to green. If the fault still exists, it will go back to red again. So if it was like an internal problem, and it was red, it said internal fault, and you hit reset and it came back to the same fault, right? It's telling you you still got a fault somewhere. Best thing is to give us a call or give the factory a call, okay? But we went green, so now we're good, all right? Your 2 modes again is drive, and then if you want to bypass, it's just a matter of pressing the button. So now I press the button, now I'm in bypass mode. Bypass again is across the line, 100% fan, okay? Over here, you still have an HOA. So you have an HOA on the drive, and you have an HOA on the bypass. This is only for the bypass. This is only for the drive, okay? That's why I'm saying there's 2 different modes, okay? So if you wanted to start this in bypass, I could put it in hand, and that would kick it on right away. Or if I put it in auto, it will revert back to the control system. If the control system is calling for it to come on, it will kick it on right away. No speed control, but it will be able to turn it on and off via the control system. Okay? But we don't want to put it in bypass right now since we have the other drive running. Okay? So we're going to put it back in drive mode. Okay? And then, again, it's sitting there because I have it in the off position. It's waiting for the command, whether I put it in hand or back in auto. Okay. As I said, the other way to reset the fault or any fault is to cycle power. Okay. So if we turn power off, you're going to hear your fans go off, and eventually your keypads will go out as well. So So now this is a question I have for you guys. I can open up the door, or I can shut down the whole main.
That's a question for Lovejoy. Opening the door fine. I can't.
I'm
tell
okay
you.
with it.
Yeah, I'm okay.
It's up to them.
No far enough away.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So basically, what you're going to have. Okay. Get them out of our way. That's inside your drive. Okay? You got your main disconnect up top. Okay? It's actually circuit breaker. All right? And then you got a bypass contactor, a drive contactor, and then out to your motor. Your motor's down the bottom. All right? That's your drive. Okay? Here's your bypass controller. All right? Here's the keypad for the drive. Exactly. This cable here is that link between the drive and the bypass. So you came up to the bypass and it said drive link error. That means this cable is not communicating between the drive and the bypass. Okay.
And what power is one of those?
This is a 60. Yeah, 60 horse. Yep. Okay. So here's your information for the drive unit. It tells you your horsepower, amperage, voltage, all that good stuff. The unit part number, and then obviously the ABB tech support number. Okay. Just so you know, if you do call the factory, they're going to want to know the model and the serial number. Okay. We submitted this information back to them so they have a record of it, and even if they didn't, you can still call them. Okay. Quicker service is you call us, but you still have that option of calling the factory. Okay. So the other things you have inside, obviously, is your cabinet fans. Okay. You also have a drive fan internally. Okay. So the drive fan is what keeps the drive cool. Cabinet fans keep the cabinet cool. Okay. Yep. All right. Yep. And then the only other couple things you have in there is the control transformer, which is mainly for your cabinet fans. Okay. And the CTs, just so you know, those CTs are for the bypass. Okay. The drive controls it in drive mode. Okay. So when you go to bypass, those CTs are monitoring for underload, overload, loss of power, and so forth. Okay. So that's the CT for the BAS. Okay, that's their status. And then all their other controls are here, or I should say, here's your analog from the BAS. And then your start command, your safety, and your comm are all in the bypass. Okay. So the only thing they're tying into the drive for the BAS system is your analog. Everything else gets tied into the bypass. Okay. And then they're taking a relay feedback for the damper control. Okay. And then they do have, yep, they do have their ribs down below, as you can. That's their indication for both the safety and their start. Okay. All right. That's basically all your power. Okay. Again, you have two modes of power. You got the drive modes through here, and then you got the bypass through the other contact. Okay. Yeah, well, that happens after we leave. So.
I can see filters on here and on the tower, so we have to be pretty difficult. A lot of it is
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, well, that could be something that you probably want to get us for the first year or two.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, yeah. Just so no warranty voids and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so that's basically what you got.
Yep.
All right. Okay, when it comes back up, so this will be interesting how it starts again. Again, that's through the BAS. So it didn't shut this one down. So we're going to see if it might go into an alarm. This will be interesting as far as operation goes. Okay? Where if you ever had a maintenance one, now you gotta put it back online. Okay? Put it back in auto. Okay? So the drives are set up to start into a spinning motor. It's just a matter of whether that's spinning forward or backwards. Okay? So it's going to ramp itself to its reference. Okay? And you can see the dotted line means it's spinning, which it's running. The dotted line means I haven't gotten the reference yet. It's still ramping, whether up or down. Okay? So if you see a dotted line, it just means I'm trying to get there. Yeah, exactly. Okay, and as you can see, it's a ramp. Okay, it's not immediate. Okay, we got like a 60-second ramp. All right.
That helps motor out too.
Yep, nice and easy, nice and smooth. Okay, and then once it gets up to speed, they should balance themselves out. Okay.
So are these looked at as two separate air handlers, or they feed the same company?
Feed the same.
So these are working in parallel. If you drop one doesn't try to overcompensate, so you get a reference when you shut it off, then it didn't budge.
It didn't move much.
Yeah.
That would be a question either for Ron or BAS. Because I'm not sure how they maintain it, but you're right. It is a common. Yes. So they should be running at the same speeds. Correct.
I would just assume if you lost one would have to ramp up.
Correct. So it went up like maybe a volt. Okay. So, but now the controller's in there, it should start to ramp it down.
So maybe that was enough.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the CFMs are. All right. But again, if you get any faults on that, my biggest suggestion is to read it, take a picture of it. If there's any questions, send it to me. Have your guy send it to me. I can say, yeah, that's good. Go ahead and reset, or no, you want to come back out.
These ones. So
Yeah, you're gonna get a
Dunnage.
lift.
There's also like there's a Dunnage platform that basically is only meant to access for that to supply. I mean, exhaust pump vehicles, but for the other sections,
I'm just waiting for the client when we say we need all these 14-foot ladders or lifts. It's like, for what?
We actually put in an RFI that, hey, how can we access the top section of this? But the Dunnage platform that came with the unit only basically includes that where that exhaust fan is.
Yeah, when I walked this 3 months ago, I looked up and said, this is probably not the best idea.
Oh, it was right in the ass commission. So, all right?
Yep.
All right, cool.